If there's one truth I want you to take from this whole series, it's this. Finding your voice isn't linear. It's cyclical. It's not something you just arrive at. It's something you evolve through. It comes in cycles. It comes in seasons. So you're not just finding your voice once and then calling it done. You continue becoming your voice as you deepen your artistry through every creative cycle. In this final episode of the Vocal Breakthrough series, we're exploring these creative cycles that shape your voice and how to honor those natural rhythms. Welcome to Reawaken Your Voice. Are you tired of pushing aside your desire to sing, only for it to resurface again and again? Hey, I'm Lainey, voice and creativity coach, singer and songwriter. If you're ready to rediscover the freedom of creative expression, free from judgment, doubt, comparison, and fear, then grab that notebook full of ideas. It's time to give voice to the songs in your heart. Let's sing. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to remember where we've been and to honor the path that we've walked these past 6 episodes. So we began with number 1, healing your relationship with your voice, learning to trust your voice. Number 2, unlocking your sound and letting go of perfectionism by kind of getting out of your head and into your body, using your body as your instrument. Number 3, finding your rhythm. So we talked about getting into that creative flow and weaving it into your daily life. Number 4, we talked about the little seeds that become songs and how to discover the song that only you can write. In part 5, we talked about sharing your voice, easing your way in gently in stages. So now we're in part 6, the final part of this series, and this is all about integration. You know, everything that we've talked about and explored together over these last 6 weeks, all of it's coming together. Each step builds on the next, and each one is like a little doorway that you can return to again as your artistry evolves. If you're moving through your own creative season and you want deeper guidance, whether you are rediscovering your voice, writing your first song, or building the confidence to actually share it, I'd love to support you inside a one-on-one vocal breakthrough session. You can book yours now at reawakenyourvoice.com/coaching. So I used to think that the creative path was kind of like climbing a mountain. You know, you climb, you're huffing and puffing, but you're alive, you're living the dream. Breathing in that fresh mountain air, doing the work, making progress. You're climbing, and you reach the top. And then it's all downhill from there. But the more that I lived inside my own creative life, the more I realized, like, oh, this is not a mountain at all. This is like a spiral. I'd keep finding myself back in the same places that felt achingly familiar. Like, I've been here before. Why am I back at this step again? But each time, the view was different. And I was different. And my voice was different. It was still me, but on a deeper level, on a truer level. My songs were truer. My perspective had matured with each cycle, each passage through that spiral as it deepened over and over again. So the vocal journey, the creative journey, the artist's path, it's not linear. It's cyclical, like the seasons. And each return brings you a new layer of yourself. I've moved through this spiral so many times at this point that I'm finally seeing it for what it is. And I realized I was so hard on myself in the past because I didn't see that cycle and I didn't honor the natural rhythm of creation. In those silent seasons that are so crucial to the creative process, I thought I was doing something wrong. I thought I was always supposed to be in, the summer, blossoming, expressing, full on, in full performance mode all the time. But as I went through this again and again, I started to see very clearly how this is a natural process that every artist goes through. When I went through it once when I left classical music, and I had to kind of figure out what my artist identity was outside of opera. So I was rebuilding my relationship with my voice in a new way. And so that cycle, that spiral happened again when I started writing my own songs and sharing my own songs. And right now it's happening again as I'm recording and learning that process of music production and seeing how much even that is a creative process within the creative process. And so, I'm still in it with every song and every creative season, every shift in my life. I come back to these steps again, but with more truth, more trust, and more freedom. I've learned to give myself grace and to honor these natural cycles. And that's what I love about this work, is that it's alive. It moves and grows with you through your life in every season of life. You don't just find your voice once and call it done. You keep becoming your voice again and again, deeper and deeper. So if you ever feel like you're starting over or you're behind, just know that you are right where you need to be. In whatever curve of that spiral you find yourself, you are deepening into your artistry. What a beautiful thing. So here's how I like to think about the creative spiral. And you know me and my nature metaphors, but it's because it's so true. Creativity is nature. And so, of course, I think of this in seasons. So think about winter. This is when you're resting, you're reflecting, you're reconnecting to that inner voice. And, maybe sometimes you're kind of veering away from it. You're finding yourself a little disconnected, a little distant. And that is when you feel that ache or that void or that cold, frigid air, and you need your creative blanket to warm you up again. So you feel the ache. It calls you inward to reconnect. You may feel far from your voice, but through all of that winter, there's healing happening underground. And there's preparation happening for spring. So in spring, that's when we feel those sparks of inspiration, those budding ideas, a sense of newness and pureness, and that playfulness returns. Those song seeds begin to appear, and everything feels possible again. There is a sense of awakening. In summer, we move into creation, full-on creation and sharing. You write and you sing and you express yourself freely. You're out there performing or sharing your voice in whatever way, whatever form that takes. But the energy is alive. It's warm. It's expansive. And then comes autumn, where you gather what you've learned. And yeah, you're gathering the lessons. You are evolving. You're polishing things. You are letting old things fall away. You're shedding all the things that you're ready to move on from. But it's kind of a nostalgic kind of season, autumn. You're looking back at the cycle and the beauty of your creation, allowing parts of it to fall away. And then maybe you kind of curl up into your cozy cocoon and do a little hibernating because it's winter again. And, just like some winters are harsher than others, some autumns have a better harvest than others. Sometimes the colors of the leaves are more beautiful in certain years. But the same goes for these creative cycles. Each one is different, but they have their common themes. Every artist moves through these over and over, not as repetition, right? It's not the same thing every time, but it's a deepening because you kind of move through these same phases, but you're learning and gathering wisdom each time you cycle through. So take a moment to check in with your creative season. Are you awakening? Are you sensing that first spark of something new? Are you emerging? You're experimenting and expressing and discovering. Are you shedding, releasing what no longer fits? Or are you integrating? Are you resting and reflecting and gathering strength for whatever comes next? There's no wrong place to be. So ask yourself, what is my voice asking for right now? Does your voice need rest? Does it want to play? Is it craving that full expression? Is it ready to be heard? Or is it asking for reflection? Whatever answer comes back to you. Let that guide you, not only within the season that you're in, but as you move through it and into the next. So in the same sense, as we close this chapter of the Vocal Breakthrough series, and we move forward into this next season of the podcast, it's almost a reflection of where we've been and where we're going, through this cycle. So I just want to thank you for journeying with me through this Vocal Breakthrough series. I've had a lot of fun experimenting with the concept of doing a series, and who knows, maybe I'll do some more in the future. But I've learned a lot from this, and I might do it a little bit differently next time. But it's something that I've created, and as I created, it changed me. I've learned, I've deepened, and as I've been moving through my own creative spiral, something new has been emerging, and it's the next evolution of this work. So I'm thrilled to share that Reawaken Your Voice is becoming singer-songwriter. Write and sing your own music with confidence. The heart of this show isn't changing. The roots are the same, but we're deepening. We're deepening into creative craft, voice, songwriting, and the path of becoming the artist you're meant to be. So don't worry, Reawaken Your Voice is not ending. It's evolving. Just like your voice, just like every creative season that you move through. If you want support as you enter your next season, whether that's healing, creating, or sharing, my one-on-one vocal breakthrough session is where we dive into this work together, you and I. So thank you for singing, for healing, for creating right alongside me in this series. And next week, we begin again together as singer-songwriter. Thanks for listening, friend. If this episode moved you or inspired you in some way, would you please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or share this episode with someone who's been praying for a vocal breakthrough? Until next time, keep nurturing that song in your heart. Lots of love.